Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, welcome back. We're moving on to this is the second part of the division work. In order for you to do the work for today, there should be a small video that precedes this video, which will have the questions and answers for you, so then you can follow the whole lesson and you can follow the lesson, look at the rules, try the questions, and then when you finish the question you can mark it as well. That's in the other video. So let's get started. Okay, we've tried something a bit different. We used something to black out the light. Hopefully we shouldn't get any reflection now on the board. It is still a bit dark, but hopefully we get the lighting sorted out as well. Right, okay. So division of decimal numbers by decimal numbers. So let's look at our first example without any further delay. Okay, 4.24 divided by 0.4. Right. Well, you can see here in the first questions that we had in the previous exercise, we had decimal points here, but this one was a whole number. Now this one also is a decimal number. Now how do we deal with the question when you're dividing by decimal number? Well, first of all, we always start at the decimal point, decimal number side, this one, the division side, what we're dividing by. So we start here. Okay. We always start on this second part. Now, what is the rule? Okay, just checking that that rule is coming up into the video. I think that rule's a bit high. Okay, what is the rule? The rule is we start at the dividing part, the second part. We must change this number into a whole number. The second number. So we must start at the dividing part then. We can divide it by 0.4. Start the second part. Change the second number, which is the what you are dividing by. Change the second number into a whole number. By what? By what technique? By multiplying by 10. Or by multiplying by 100, or by multiplying by 1,000. Okay? Okay. That's lovely. It's coming up nice and clearly. MashaAllah, that looks good on the video. Right, okay. Alright folks, now, we need to change into a whole number. Samina, what do we multiply by to change into a whole number? Is it the 10 part, the 100 part, or the 1,000 part? 110. Okay, by 10. Excellent. Because if all we have to do here, when we multiply by 10, we grab the decimal point and we move it one place to the right. When you multiply any whole number or any decimal number by 10, the number moves towards the left on a place value, which is equivalent to the decimal point moving to the right. So we're using the equivalent decimal point moving technique. So decimal point moves this way, so 0.4 very quickly becomes 4. So have we changed our decimal number into a whole number? And the answer to that question is yes, we have. So we had started with 0.4, we times it by 10, that became 4. Is this a whole number? Yes. Are we ready to proceed? Fantastic. Lovely. Now, before we proceed with the rest of the question, start dividing it, you have to think to yourself now, I've changed this into a whole number. I've actually done something with this part of the question. So the dividing part has been timed by 10, but did we do anything in this part? No. Mathematically, what you do to one part of an equation, one part of a question, you must do the other part to make it equal. Okay, to make it balance. So if we have changed the dividing number by making 10 times bigger, we've got to change the question part to make that 10 times bigger, to make the question this equivalent to what it was in the beginning. So what we do to this, we must do to that. So let's multiply that by 10 as well. So that changes the number 4.24 into 42.4. So now we have transformed our question from 4.24 divided by 0.4 into 42.4 divided by 4. And these two statements are equivalent. And to check that, grab your calculator, type in both calculations, and you'll find that the answer is identical. So what we're doing here, we are changing the question, but we're manipulating both parts equal amounts. So now we've got an equivalent question. So we are now going to work out this question, which we learned how to do in the first video. In the earlier video, when we were doing decimal numbers divided by whole numbers, this is really what it is. So we're going to do this question completely. Okay, so let's finish it off. So this number 42.4 has been divided by 4. The dividing by number, the second number always goes first. Cross them over. The 4 goes over here. That means the first number will go second. 42.4. Okay, now the rule that we learned in the first video is when you have a decimal point in this division question, we must copy it up. Copy it up. Line it up. So we line up the decimal points. We say how many groups of 4 can I make from 4? The answer is 1. So 4 times by 1 is 4. How many groups of 4 can I make from 2? So I mean, you've got 2 friends, can you make a group of 4 from 2? The answer is no, I can't do it. And in no we have an O. So we can't do it. So we can't make any groups. So this whole number 2 becomes a remainder onto the next number. It gets passed on. So how many 4s now go into 24? 4 will fit into 24 times tables. Recall. Think about your times tables. 4 times by what is 24? And the answer is 6. Well done. Have you finished the question? Finish the question. Lovely. So we started off with this original question. The rule said change the second number, the dividing number, into a whole number by either multiply by 10 or 1,000. In this case, we only have to multiply it by 10. And then what we do to the dividing number, we must do to the original question, the first number. So if you times this one by 10, you must times that one by 10 to keep the question balanced. The question then gets changed into this new question. We work out that and we're finished and the answer's done. Okay, you happy with that? Let's do one more example and then you're ready for the exercise. Okay. Okay. Delete. So leave everything on at the moment. Anything else? Okay, now we're going to do one question at a time on the page because that we get a nice big image in the video. Let's choose one more question from the exercise 14 questions. Okay, that one looks nice. Okay, right, this is our second and last question we can do for this short video. 64.8 is decimal number, 0.008 is decimal number. We got decimal number divided by decimal number. Now, as we said earlier, we need to know where to start the question. We always start this kind of question with the number that we're dividing by. So we change the second number into a whole number. We need to change this second division number, dividing number, into a whole number. Now, how many times do I need to move the decimal point? I'm going to get the decimal point from here to there. You've got to get that. You've got to move it. How many times? 3 times. So we have to multiply this number by 1,000. So 1, 2, 3. So now 0.008 has become 8. Now, don't forget, what you do to the dividing number, we must also do to the question number, what we're starting with. So if we do time this by 1000, you must also time that by 1000. So 1, 2, 3. So what do we get on this side? We get 6, 4, 8. Okay. Because we are changing both numbers in the beginning of the question, there's no need for an adjustment at the end of the question. Some students get confused. They go, wait, we multiply this one by 1000. So in my answer, I have to then divide by 1000. But you don't need to do that because I've multiplied both items by 1000. So now the question is in equilibrium, it is balanced. So this top question has now been converted into this question. So this question here is equivalent, is the same as that one, and you can easily find out by picking up a calculator, typing in both calculations and getting exactly the same answer. That's what we're doing. So we are now making this equivalent to this. Let's do the question. Okay, the second number, the one you're dividing by, the second number goes first, second goes first, and the first number always goes second. Okay, think of it like an X, swap them over like this. Okay, this has become a whole number, and this has also become a whole number. That doesn't matter. Let's do the question as it stands. So we say, how many 8 will fit into 6? I want to make a group of 8 from 6, and the answer is no, I can't do that. I don't have enough. And in no, we have an O. Okay, because you can't make a group of 8 from 6, the whole number 6 becomes a remainder. It moves, passes on to the next number. So now my next question is, how many groups of 8 can I make from 64? So you have 64 friends, you put them into groups of 8. Times tables knowledge, 8 times by something is 64, and that number, Armina, is 8. Is that 8 exactly? Yes. 8 times by 8 is 64. We move on to the next digit. How many 8s will fit into 8? And that's going to be nice and straightforward one. 1 exactly. You can make one group of 8 from 8. The next one is, how many groups of 8 can you make from nothing? And the answer is nothing, can't do it. How many groups of 8 can you make from a nothing? You can't make a group of 8 from nothing. Answer is nothing. So now the final answer is 0, 80, 100 or 0, 8,100. We have finished the question, we've finished our lesson. So please go back to the original video, that's the beginning of this one, which has all the questions. The questions will be exercise 14, and that's got the questions and the answers in the video. You can pause the video and you can do print screen, print the questions out, and then when you go to the next part with the answers, you can pause that, print screen it, go and print that out, and you can also have a set of questions and answers, or you can just open 2 tabs and you can flick between the video of the learning part and the video of the answer part and the question part. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Inshallah, we'll see you next week in the next video. Okay, assalamu alaikum until then.